You have probably been told that if a woman is not interested, you should give up or try harder to prove yourself. But here is the uncomfortable truth, folks. Most men lose her attention because they do the thing that kills attraction. They chase. They text too much. They become too available. They explain their value, compete with other men, and treat her attention like a prize they have to earn. And the more they try to make her want them, the more she feels their need. Maybe you know that feeling, my friend. She replies cold. She takes hours to answer. She seems interested one day and distant the next. So you lean in harder. You send another message. You try to be funnier, kinder, more impressive, more available. But instead of pulling her closer, you push your masculine presence lower. The solution is not begging. It is not fake pickup lines. It is not manipulating her emotions. The solution is learning how female psychology responds to space, mystery, confidence, restraint, and emotional presence. A woman may not miss a man who is chasing her, but she can start thinking about the man whose absence feels different. In this video, you will learn how to stop chasing her desire, make silence magnetic, stop being too available, keep her curious, and build the kind of confidence that creates attraction without desperation. Stay with me, because this can change how she feels when you are not around. Let's get into it. Number 1. Stop chasing her desire. Let's be honest, folks. The harder you chase her desire, the faster you make it disappear. A woman may enjoy attention, but she does not crave a man who throws his value at her feet and waits to be picked. Chasing feels like effort to you. To her, it often feels like pressure, need, and emotional oversupply. That is where most men get it wrong. They think if she is not interested, they need to do more, text more, compliment more, explain more, prove more, show her they are different from every other man. But my friend, desire does not grow because you present evidence. Attraction is not a courtroom. You cannot argue a woman into wanting you. The more you chase, the more you show that her attention has become the prize and your dignity has become the payment. Look at Stephen, 48, a sales director in Phoenix. He met Michelle, 43, at a wine tasting hosted by a mutual friend. Michelle was attractive, confident, and carried herself with that calm, feminine energy that made Stephen feel immediately drawn in. She laughed at his jokes, touched his arm once during the conversation, and gave him enough warmth to make him believe something was there. So Stephen leaned in. The next morning, he texted her. She replied politely. Later that day, he sent another message, then a picture from the event, then a joke about the wine they both liked. Michelle responded, but her replies grew shorter. Stephen felt the distance, and instead of stepping back, he pushed harder. He asked when she was free, then followed up, then said he hoped he was not bothering her. That one sentence told her everything. He had moved from interest to insecurity. And once a woman feels that shift, the tension changes. She is no longer wondering about you. She is managing your need. That is not attractive. That is not magnetic. That does not create desire. It creates pressure. Desire needs room, mystery, and a man who is steady. This is the first rule. Stop chasing her desire. Make your interest clear once with confidence, then give space. If she meets you with warmth, continue. If she gives dry energy, step back. Not to punish her, not to manipulate her, to protect your frame. A man with self-respect does not flood a woman with attention just because she is beautiful. He does not treat her silence like an emergency. He does not double his effort every time she halves hers. He understands that desire needs space to breathe. If you stand too close to a fire, you do not make it warmer, you suffocate it. The Stoic lesson here is simple. Control what is yours. Your pace, your tone, your restraint, your standards. Her attraction is not yours to force. Her interest is not yours to manufacture. Your job is not to chase her into wanting you. Your job is to become the kind of man who does not lose himself when she is uncertain. Stephen finally learned this after Michelle stopped responding altogether. Instead of sending one more message, he stopped. He went back to his routine, his work, his gym, his friends. 2 weeks later, Michelle liked one of his posts and sent a casual message asking how he had been. But by then Stephen had learned the bigger lesson. His power was not in getting her attention. His power was in not needing it anymore. That is what women feel. A man who can want without begging, a man who can desire without chasing, a man who can step back without bitterness. If you are ready to stop chasing desire, write this in the comments. I stop chasing. Stay with me because the next part shows why silence can create more pull than another message ever could. Number 2. Make silence feel magnetic. Now listen carefully, folks, because silence is where most men either become powerful or expose their need. When a woman is not giving you real interest, the average man panics. He sends another text, then another. He checks whether she read it. He tries to restart the conversation with a joke, a question, a compliment, anything to get a pulse from her. But my friend, every unnecessary message lowers the value of the next one. Words lose weight when they are too available. If you are always texting good morning, checking in at lunch, asking how her day went and ending the night with another soft message, you may think you are building connection. But what you are really doing is removing tension. You are teaching her that your attention is guaranteed, and guaranteed attention rarely feels exciting. Silence changes that. Silence creates space in her mind. It gives her room to wonder where you are, what you are doing, why your energy is no longer flowing toward her on demand. That wondering is important because attraction does not grow only through contact. Sometimes it grows through absence. Sometimes the most powerful message is the one you do not send. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in external matters." In this context, that means stop trying to manage how she sees every moment of your silence. Let her wonder. Let her misunderstand for a minute. Let her sit with the space. You do not need to explain your restraint to someone who has not earned constant access to you. Attention is currency. If you hand it out like loose change, she will treat it like loose change. But when your attention becomes selective, it starts carrying value. Not because you are playing games, but because you are respecting your own energy. A man who can hold back his words shows that he is not ruled by impulse. He has a life, he has purpose, he has emotional control. That quiet control gives his presence a sharper edge, the kind a woman can feel before she can explain why it affects her. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Her delayed reply is an outside event. Her dry answer is an outside event. Her uncertainty is an outside event. Your response is where your power lives. If you respond to every shift with anxiety, you train yourself to be controlled by her rhythm. If you respond with calm silence, you take your rhythm back. Now, do not twist this into childish ignoring. Silence is not punishment. Silence is not acting cold just to trigger her. Silence is balance. If she gives low effort, you do not reward it with high investment. If she takes hours to respond with 3 words, you do not send a paragraph. If the conversation dies, you let it die. Dead energy does not need CPR from a man with self-respect. The key is to make silence feel grounded, not bitter. You do not disappear with anger. You simply return your attention to your own life. Work, train, read, handle your business. Spend time with people who already value your presence. Let her feel that your world continues without her immediate response. That is what makes silence magnetic. It shows that you can desire without chasing care, without clinging, and step back without losing your center. A woman may ignore constant words, but she will notice a man whose absence suddenly has weight and creates clean tension another text could never create. If you are ready to let your silence carry value, write this in the comments: I choose silence. Let's keep going because the next part shows why being too available makes even a good man easy to forget. Number 3. Stop being always available. Let's get honest. Folks, being available all the time does not make you more valuable. It makes you predictable. And predictable when it comes to attraction usually becomes forgettable. A woman may appreciate a man who is kind. She may respect a man who is reliable. But if your reliability turns into dropping everything the second she gives you a little attention, you are no longer showing strength. You are showing that your life can be interrupted by her mood. That is where availability becomes weakness. Too many men think constant access is romantic. They answer every text instantly. They cancel plans with friends just in case she wants to meet. They keep their evenings open hoping she chooses them. They say yes before they even check their own schedule. On the surface that looks generous. Underneath it says, my time has no boundary when you are involved. And my friend, women feel that. Think about Harold, 52, an insurance broker in Orlando. He started talking to Lisa, 46, a stylish woman he met at a networking dinner. Lisa was attractive, playful, and had that confident feminine energy that made Harold feel seen again after years of dating disappointment. At first she enjoyed his attention. He replied quickly. He offered help. He made time. He was easy to reach. Then Harold made the mistake of becoming too available. If Lisa texted during his workday, he answered within minutes. If she mentioned being bored, he rearranged his night. If she cancelled plans, he told her it was fine and waited for her to suggest another time. One Saturday, he skipped a golf outing with two close friends because Lisa said she might be free later. She never confirmed. Harold spent the evening checking his phone, pretending he was relaxed while feeling smaller by the hour. That is not masculine presence. That is emotional standby. Here is the problem. When a man is always available, he removes the natural tension that makes attention feel meaningful. There is no curiosity, no anticipation, no sense that his time is valuable. She does not have to wonder when she will hear from him because he is always there. She does not have to invest because he keeps showing up for both people. Availability becomes cheap when it has no standard. Now, do not misunderstand this. I am not telling you to play games or act busy to seem important. That is childish. I am telling you to actually have a life, have work that matters, have friends you keep your word to, have a body, you train goals, you protect routines, you respect and quiet time that does not get sacrificed just because a beautiful woman sends a message. That is attractive because it is real. When Harold finally saw what he was doing, he stopped living on call. He kept his plans. He answered when he was available, not when anxiety told him to prove interest. He told Lisa, I already have plans tonight, but I am free Thursday. Calm, simple, no apology, no performance. Lisa noticed the shift because suddenly his time had structure. His warmth remained, but his access was no longer automatic, and that made every moment with him feel more intentional. And structure creates value. A woman does not miss a man who is always standing beside the door waiting to be invited in. She misses the man whose presence feels good and whose absence reminds her that he has a life beyond her attention. That is the balance. Warm but not waiting. Interested but not idle. Available when it is earned, not guaranteed. If you are ready to protect your time, write this in the comments. I value time. Stay with me because the next part shows how curiosity and mystery keep her mind engaged longer than over-explaining ever will. Number 4. Keep her curious longer. Now listen closely, folks, because curiosity is one of the strongest forces in attraction. A woman may notice your looks, your voice, your confidence, even the way you carry masculine tension in a room. But what keeps her mind returning to you is not what you reveal immediately. It is what she still wants to discover. That is why too much information too soon can kill the spark. A lot of men think connection means full disclosure. They tell her every plan, every feeling, every insecurity, every story from the past, every detail of where they are going and what they are doing. They think honesty means becoming an open book from the first conversation. But my friend, an open book can be respected and still not be intriguing. If she knows every page too early, there is nothing left for her imagination to touch. Let me be clear, this is not about lying. A Stoic man does not deceive. He does not invent mystery through dishonesty. He simply understands restraint. He knows that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every feeling needs to be announced, and not every part of his life needs to be placed on the table before trust has earned it. Epictetus said, "Nature gave us one tongue and two ears, so we could hear twice as much as we speak." That applies here. Speak with purpose. Listen more than you perform. Let your words carry weight instead of spilling them everywhere. A man who talks just to fill space often exposes his need for approval. A man who can hold silence without discomfort creates tension, and tension matters. Attraction is not built only through comfort. Comfort makes her feel safe, but mystery makes her lean closer. She wants to feel there is more beneath the surface, more discipline, more depth, more experience, more controlled fire. If you explain everything too quickly, you remove the chase from her mind. If you hold something back with calm confidence, you give her curiosity a place to grow. Think of a good movie. If the whole story is revealed in the first scene, you stop caring. The suspense is gone. The emotional pull disappears. A man is no different. If you tell her too soon how much you like her, how long you have been waiting for someone like her, how badly you want her attention, you may think you are being sincere, but often you are removing the very tension that could have made her desire grow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be silent for the most part, or say only what is necessary. That is not coldness, that is command. Say less but mean more. Share enough to connect, not so much that you become predictable. Let her discover your life through layers, not through a rushed presentation. Your restraint creates room for her imagination, and imagination is where attraction often starts breathing on its own, especially when you stop forcing certainty too early." And folks, if you want deeper members-only lessons on masculine communication, emotional restraint, and building attraction without chasing, join the channel membership. Inside, we go further into real situations, what to say, what not to say, when to speak, and when silence makes your presence stronger. So keep her curious longer. Do not over-explain your schedule. Do not narrate every emotion. Do not confess your whole heart before she has invested anything real. Be honest, but be measured. Be warm, but not exposed. Be present, but not fully decoded. A woman remembers the man who gives her something to wonder about. If you are ready to speak with more power and less need, write this in the comments. I stay mysterious. Do not go anywhere, because the next part shows why competing for her attention is one of the fastest ways to lose her respect. Number 5. Never compete for attention. Let's be blunt, folks. The moment you compete for a woman's attention, you place yourself beneath it. You turn her focus into a trophy, and you turn yourself into one of the men trying to win a spot in her mind. That is not masculine. That is not attractive. That is emotional bidding, and women feel it. A lot of men do this without realizing it. She posts a picture and they rush to comment. Another man jokes with her and suddenly they try to be funnier. She gets attention from other men and they start working harder, texting more, complimenting more, trying to prove they are the better option. But my friend, the second you start competing like that, you stop feeling like a man with standards and start looking like a man asking to be picked. Look at Raymond, 55, a sales consultant in Scottsdale. He met Danielle, 48, at a business mixer. Danielle was polished, attractive, and knew exactly how much attention she attracted when she walked into a room. Raymond liked her confidence. He liked the way she smiled at him, the way she held eye contact, the way she made the conversation feel charged. But Danielle had options, and Raymond saw them. There was another man at the mixer, younger, louder, quick, with jokes always close to her side. Raymond felt that heat in his chest. Instead of staying centered, he started performing. He laughed harder. He interrupted more. He mentioned his income, his trips, his connections. Later, when Danielle posted a photo from the event, Raymond commented within minutes, hoping she would notice him before the other guy did. That is where he lost power. Not because the other man was better, not because Danielle was wrong for getting attention. Raymond lost power because he let another man's presence change his frame. He stopped being himself and started auditioning. And nothing kills sexual tension faster than a man who looks like he is trying to prove he deserves the room. A grounded man does not compete for attention. He observes whether attention is mutual. If a woman enjoys games, ego, feeding, and making men fight for a glance, he does not step into that arena. He steps back. Not bitter, not offended, just clear. Because his time focus and masculine energy are not cheap. This is what most men need to understand. You do not become more desirable by fighting harder for her attention. You become more desirable by refusing to lower yourself for it. The man who knows his worth does not panic when other men appear. He does not start comparing bodies, money, age, status, or charm. He understands that if his presence is not enough to be respected, chasing respect will not create it. Raymond learned this after Danielle gave him polite but distant replies. He realized he had been acting like a contestant instead of a man, so he stopped. The next time he saw her, he was calm, friendly, brief. He did not hover. He did not compete. He spoke, smiled, and returned to his own circle. Danielle noticed the shift because now he was no longer chasing her attention. He was owning his. That is the difference. If she is interested, she will make it clear through effort, warmth, curiosity, and consistency. If she only responds when you compete, then what she wants is not connection. She wants validation. And a man with self-respect does not feed a woman's ego just to feel chosen. So stop fighting for the spotlight. Be the standard. Let other men scramble if they want to. You stand still, grounded, selective, and calm. That kind of restraint carries more pull than any desperate performance. If you are ready to stop competing for attention, write this in the comments. I never compete. Stay close, because the next part shows why real confidence creates more desire than affection alone ever could. Number 6. Let confidence create desire. Here is the hard truth, folks. Love does not create desire by itself. Attention does not create desire by itself. Being nice, available, sweet, supportive, and emotionally open will not make a woman feel pulled toward you if there is no confidence underneath it. Confidence is the spark that makes your presence felt. A lot of men think affection is enough. They believe if they care harder, text longer, compliment more, and prove they are different, she will finally feel something. But my friend, affection without confidence often feels heavy. It feels like need. It feels like a man offering his heart before he has shown that he can stand firmly on his own 2 feet. And women can sense that. Real confidence is not arrogance. It is not bragging about money, status, women, or success. Arrogance is loud because it is trying to cover insecurity. Confidence is quieter. It is the way you hold eye contact without begging, the way you speak without rushing, the way you make decisions without looking around for approval, the way you can enjoy a woman's beauty without acting like it has made you lose control. That is what creates desire. Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That is the foundation of confidence. If you cannot master your impulses, your need for reassurance, your hunger for her approval, then your attraction will always carry tension in the wrong way. Not masculine tension, nervous tension, the kind that makes her feel your need instead of your strength. A confident man does not chase a reaction. He creates a presence. He does not try to convince her that he is valuable. He moves like a man who already knows his value and is simply seeing whether she recognizes it. That shift changes everything. It removes pressure. It makes your affection feel chosen, not desperate. It makes your attention feel earned, not spilled everywhere. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That is confidence in action. Stop explaining that you are different. Be different. Stop telling her you are loyal. Live with standards. Stop saying you are strong. Show restraint when your ego wants to react. Stop hoping she will believe in your worth. Build a life that makes your worth visible without a speech. This is why confidence is more addictive than love. Love can comfort a woman, but confidence activates respect. And respect is what allows desire to grow without turning into pity. When she feels that you are not emotionally dependent on her response, she relaxes into your presence differently. She can feel warmth from you without feeling responsible for holding you together. That is powerful. A man with confidence can be kind without being soft. He can be direct without being needy. He can flirt without performing. He can walk away without bitterness. He can say no without over-explaining. He can let silence sit in the room without rushing to fill it. That kind of control creates a subtle sexual charge because it shows strength contained, not strength begging to be noticed. So if you want her desire to wake up, stop trying to purchase it with over-affection. Build confidence through action. Train your body. Keep your word. Handle your business. Protect your time. Speak honestly. Walk away from disrespect. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes proof, and proof becomes confidence. Over time, that proof changes your posture, your voice, and the way she feels your presence. When confidence is real, she feels it before you say a word. If you are ready to carry yourself with earned confidence, write this in the comments. I carry confidence. Stick with me, because the next part shows how making her feel your absence can awaken desire faster than constant attention ever could. Number 7. Make her feel your absence. Let's be honest, folks. Nothing makes a woman notice a man faster than realizing his attention is no longer guaranteed. Not because you are trying to punish her, not because you are playing some cheap game, but because human beings value what they can lose, and too many men make themselves impossible to lose. They are always there, always texting, always checking in, always ready to respond, always available for her boredom, her moods, her mixed signals, and her half-effort. Then they wonder why she does not miss them. My friend, she cannot miss what never leaves. Absence creates contrast. Contrast creates curiosity. Curiosity creates emotional movement. And emotional movement is where desire begins to wake up. Look at Victor, 51, a commercial pilot from Miami. He started talking to Angela, 46, a stylish woman who owned a boutique fitness studio. Angela was confident, attractive, and carried that feminine energy that made Victor feel a strong pull. At first, she seemed interested. She laughed at his messages. She sent selfies from her studio. She flirted just enough to keep the tension alive. Then her energy changed. Her replies got shorter. She cancelled dinner twice. She still liked his attention, but she was no longer investing much of her own. Victor felt it, and like many men, he almost made the wrong move. He wanted to push harder. He wanted to send more charming texts, ask what changed, and remind her how good their connection had felt. But then he caught himself. Instead of chasing, he stepped back. No angry message, no emotional speech, no dramatic announcement. He simply stopped giving daily attention to a woman who was not matching it. He returned to his own life. Flights, training, dinners with friends, time with his grown son, quiet mornings before work. Angela was not blocked. She was not attacked. She was simply no longer the center of his attention, and that is when she felt it. A few days later, Angela checked her phone, expecting his name. Nothing. She posted a story expecting him to view it quickly. He did not. She waited for the familiar good morning message. It never came. That space made her wonder. Did he lose interest? Is he seeing someone else? Did I take him for granted? That is the power of absence. But understand this clearly. You are not creating absence to manipulate her. You are creating absence because your attention has value. If she does not respect it, she should not receive unlimited access to it. A man with self-respect does not keep pouring warmth into a place that gives him coldness back. Making her feel your absence means you stop being a permanent fixture in her life before she has earned that place in yours. You stop rewarding inconsistency, You stop being the comfortable option she can return to when other attention feels empty. You let her feel what the room is like without your masculine presence filling it. And yes, that absence can awaken desire. Not always and not with every woman. But when there was real attraction underneath the surface, space gives it room to breathe. It forces her mind to notice what your constant presence made too easy to ignore. This is where masculine restraint becomes attractive. You are not begging her to miss you. You are giving reality enough space to show whether she values you at all. Victor did not chase Angela back. He let her step forward. When she finally messaged him, he stayed calm, warm but not hungry, interested but not waiting. That is the balance. If you are ready to make your absence speak, write this in the comments. I create space. Stay tuned, because the next part shows how building emotional presence makes you unforgettable even when you are not around. Number 8. Build emotional presence. Here is the deeper layer, folks. A woman does not only remember what you said, she remembers how she felt around you. That is emotional presence. It is the weight your energy leaves behind after the conversation ends, after the date is over, after the phone goes quiet. And if you build that presence correctly, your absence does not feel empty, it feels charged. Most men confuse presence with attention. They think being present means texting all day, asking endless questions, staying available, and proving they care. But emotional presence is not about volume, it is about depth. It is the difference between a man who fills space with noise and a man whose few words make the room feel different. A Stoic man understands this because he is not scattered. He is not trying to be liked every second. He is not rushing to impress. He is composed, observant, and grounded. When he listens, he actually listens. When he speaks, his words have direction. When he looks at a woman, he is not begging for approval through his eyes. He is steady enough to make her feel seen, without making her feel responsible for his confidence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as if it were your last." Apply that here, my friend. When you are with her, be fully there, not needy, not intense in a desperate way, fully there. Put the phone down, stop scanning the room. Stop trying to perform, let your attention have quality. A woman can feel when your presence is clean, focused, and masculine without being hungry. That kind of presence stays with her. It is not the longest conversation she remembers. It is the moment you paused, held eye contact, and did not rush to fill the silence. It is the moment you listened to something she said and responded with calm understanding instead of cheap flattery. It is the moment you showed restraint when another man would have pushed too hard. Emotional presence is built through small signals of self-command. Seneca said to be everywhere is to be nowhere. Many men are everywhere emotionally. They are in her inbox, on her phone, under her photos, reacting to every shift, trying to be seen from every angle. But because they are everywhere, they have no weight. A man with presence is not everywhere. He arrives with intention, leaves with dignity, and gives her mind space to replay the feeling. That replay is powerful. That is how memory becomes desire over time. If she is not interested yet, emotional presence can create the first crack in indifference. Not by forcing her, not by overwhelming her, but by making your energy different from the men who chase her attention. You become the man who does not need to say much to be felt. The man who brings calm into tension. The man who creates desire through grounded control, not emotional noise. Build this by slowing down. Speak less but speak clearly. Listen more but do not interview her like you are desperate to keep the conversation alive. Lead the interaction but do not dominate it. Let warmth and restraint work together. Be direct enough to create tension but controlled enough to make her feel safe. That is rare, folks, and rare is remembered. A woman may forget the man who praised her all night. She may forget the man who tried too hard to entertain her, but she remembers the man whose presence made her feel both calm and curious, seen and challenged, safe and slightly unsettled in the best way. If you are ready to build a presence she can feel, Even when you are gone, write this in the comments: I leave presence. Stay close, because the next part shows why she must invest too, if attraction is ever going to become real. Number 9. Let her invest too. Let's get this clear. Folks, attraction cannot become real if you are the only one feeding it. A woman may enjoy your attention, your compliments, your masculine energy, and the tension you bring into the room. But if she never invests back, if she never steps forward, if she only receives while you keep giving, then what you have is not attraction. It is a one-man performance. And my friend, performances get tiring. Too many men think they can make a woman want them by carrying the entire connection. They initiate every conversation, they plan every date, they send every thoughtful message, they keep the chemistry alive with jokes, questions, charm and effort. She smiles, responds, maybe even flirts a little, and he thinks, good, this is working. But look closer. Is she investing, or is she just consuming? That question matters. Think about Kevin, 54, a restaurant owner in San Antonio. He met Patricia, 49, a confident woman who worked in luxury real estate. Patricia was elegant, playful, and knew how to receive attention like she had been doing it her whole life. Kevin felt that spark immediately. He liked her voice, her perfume, the way she laughed at his dry humor. So he started giving. He texted first. He picked the restaurants. He remembered her favorite wine. He sent music he thought she would like. He complimented her style. Patricia enjoyed it all, but she rarely initiated. She rarely asked about his life. She rarely made plans. When Kevin pulled back for a day, she would send a soft little message, just enough to pull him back into giving again. That is the trap. A woman who is truly becoming interested will not only receive your energy, she will start placing some of her own on the table. Maybe she asks when she can see you. Maybe she remembers something you said. Maybe she sends a message without needing a prompt. Maybe she adjusts her schedule. Maybe she shows curiosity about your work, your life, your mind. Investment does not have to be loud, but it must exist. If it does not exist, you need to stop overpaying for potential. Kevin finally realized he had built a connection where Patricia got the full experience of being pursued without the responsibility of showing real interest. So he changed his rhythm. He stayed warm, but he stopped carrying the whole weight. When she gave low effort, he gave space. When she waited for him to plan everything, he let silence sit. When she sent a vague message, he did not turn it into a dinner invitation. At first, Patricia seemed confused. Then she started investing. She asked about his week. She suggested a place. She sent a voice note. And Kevin did not celebrate like a starving man finally getting crumbs. He simply observed. Because the goal is not to force investment. The goal is to see whether investment appears when you stop over-functioning. This is where your self-respect becomes the filter. A man with standards does not punish a woman for low investment. He simply stops rewarding it. He does not say you need to try harder. He shows through his pace that access to him requires mutual energy. That creates a clean dynamic. She gets to choose whether she steps forward, and you get to see whether her interest is real. Let her invest too, folks. Let her wonder. Let her initiate. Let her show effort. Let her reveal whether desire is growing or whether she only liked the feeling of being wanted. If you are ready to stop carrying the whole connection, write this in the comments. I require effort. Do not go anywhere, because the final part shows how to become the man she cannot forget, even when she tries. Number 10. Become hard to forget. Here is the final truth, folks. A woman does not remember the man who tried the hardest to impress her. She remembers the man who made her feel something different, then had enough self-respect to leave space behind him. That is what makes a man hard to forget. It is not constant texting. It is not buying attention. It is not being available every time she feels bored, lonely, or curious. Any man can flood her phone. Any man can compliment her body. Any man can perform interest until it becomes predictable. But a man who is hard to forget has presence, restraint, confidence, and a life that does not bend around her approval. He creates an experience, then he does not cheapen it by overexposure. Think about that. If every conversation with you becomes another attempt to prove your value, she stops feeling mystery. If every moment of attraction is followed by need, she stops feeling tension. If every good interaction is chased by 3 follow-up messages, she stops replaying the feeling and starts managing your expectation. You want to become unforgettable. Stop turning attraction into pressure. A woman remembers contrast. She remembers the man who was warm but not needy, direct but not desperate, masculine but not controlling, present but not permanently available. She remembers the man who could look at her like he wanted her, yet still walk away with calm control. That combination creates a kind of tension most men never understand. Because desire needs 2 things, heat and space. Heat without space becomes pressure. Space without heat becomes distance. But heat with space creates pull. That is where your power lives. You show enough interest to create energy, then enough restraint to let her mind continue the conversation when you are not there. Stoicism is the backbone of this. A Stoic man does not perform for memory. He becomes memorable through self-command. He controls his impulses. He respects his time. He speaks with purpose. He does not reveal every feeling just because he feels it. He does not chase every spark just because it excites him. He understands that the man who governs himself leaves a stronger mark than the man who begs to be noticed. So become hard to forget by becoming hard to replace in energy, not by trying to be perfect. Be the man who listens with focus, the man who can flirt without losing his frame, the man who has standards without announcing them every 5 minutes, the man whose life has rhythm, discipline, and direction, the man who makes a woman feel seen but does not make her the center of his universe after one good night. That is rare, and rarity is what lingers. If she is not interested at first, do not panic. Do not chase. Do not try to force desire into her body through effort. Simply become the man whose presence is clean, whose absence is noticeable, and whose attention feels earned. Some women will still not choose you, and that is fine. A man with real power does not need every woman to want him. He needs to stay aligned with himself. But the ones who do feel that difference will remember it. They will remember your calm, your restraint, your confidence, the way you did not compete, the way you did not over-explain, the way you left them curious instead of drained. That is how you become hard to forget, my friend. Not by occupying her life constantly, but by leaving a mark her mind keeps returning to. You do not force memory. You become the kind of man memory follows. And that is the difference between being another man who wanted her and being the man she still thinks about when the room gets quiet. That is the quiet victory most men never reach. Folks, now you understand what makes a woman start thinking about a man she once overlooked. It is not chasing, it is not begging, it is not flooding her phone or competing for her attention. It is presence, restraint, confidence, silence, mystery, and self-respect. When you stop being too available and start moving like a man with standards, your energy changes. This lesson was never about forcing desire. It was about becoming the kind of man whose attention has value, whose absence has weight, and whose presence is hard to forget. If you want deeper lessons on Stoicism, masculine confidence, emotional control, and attraction without desperation, join the channel membership. That is where we go further and build the mindset most men never develop. And if this video gave you clarity, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss tomorrow's lesson. If we are being honest, most men have no idea how female attraction actually works. They think flowers, good morning texts, fast replies, and constant attention will make a woman want them more. But folks, that is often the fastest way to make her feel less. Not because kindness is wrong, not because effort is weak, but because when a man becomes too available, too easy to read, and too hungry for approval, He removes the tension that makes desire grow. Maybe you have done this, my friend. You liked her, so you answered every message. You cancelled your own plans. You gave compliments before she earned your respect. You tried to prove you were different, loyal, serious, safe. And somehow, the more you gave, the less she chased. The more you showed up, the less she wondered about you. That is not bad luck. That is psychology. A woman does not become drawn to a man because he hands her unlimited access. She becomes intrigued by a man with standards, mystery, self-control, and a life she has to respect. A man who can be warm without being easy, present without being predictable, interested without surrendering his power. In this video, you will learn how to stop being too available, make your time valuable, create fear of losing you, control the pace, make her earn validation, and stay mysterious to keep her mind engaged. Stay with me because this will change how you create desire. Let's get into it. Number 1. Stop being too available. Let's get straight to it, folks. Being available all the time does not make you more attractive. It makes you too easy to access. And when a man becomes too easy to access, his attention starts feeling cheap, even if his intentions are good. Most men confuse availability with devotion. They think if they answer fast, cancel plans, stay open every night, and give a woman unlimited access, she will finally see how serious they are. But my friend, that is not how desire works. Desire needs space. Desire needs anticipation. Desire needs the feeling that your time has weight. If every time she calls you answer, if every time she texts you reply in seconds, if every time she says she might want to see you, you rearrange your whole evening, you are not showing value. You are showing that your life can be moved around by her mood. Look at Michael, 53, a commercial real estate broker in Tampa. He met Denise, 47, at a charity dinner. Denise was elegant, confident, and carried that slow, feminine charm that made men notice her without her trying. Michael liked her immediately. The chemistry was there. She smiled, touched his arm during conversation, and gave him enough warmth to make him think this could go somewhere. So he made himself available. When Denise texted, he answered right away. When she wanted to meet on short notice, he cancelled plans. When she called late after a stressful day, he stayed on the phone, even when he had an early meeting. At first, Denise enjoyed the attention, but slowly something changed. She stopped wondering about him. She stopped anticipating him. She knew he would always be there. That is when attraction began to cool. Not because Michael was a bad man. He was generous, stable, and sincere, but he gave access before she earned it. He made his time feel unlimited, and what feels unlimited rarely feels urgent. Here is the truth most men need to hear. A woman can appreciate your kindness and still lose desire for your over-availability. Appreciation is not attraction. Comfort is not obsession. If you want her to think about you when you are not around, you must give her room to feel your absence. This does not mean you ignore her or act childish. That is weak. It means you actually have a life. Friends, work, health, purpose, responsibilities, standards. It means when she asks to see you tonight, and you already have plans, you do not throw your life away to prove interest. You say, I cannot tonight, but Friday works. Calm, simple, masculine. That one response says a lot. It says your time is real. It says your world does not revolve around her. It says you are interested but not desperate. And that balance is what makes a woman lean in instead of lean back. Michael learned this after Denise cancelled on him twice and expected him to keep waiting. Instead, he stopped being on call. He kept his schedule. He went golfing with friends. He handled his business. He answered when he was free, not when anxiety told him to. And when Denise realized his attention was no longer automatic, she started investing more. That is the psychology. People value what has boundaries. They respect what is not handed out for free. Your presence should feel like a privilege, not a public service. So stop being too available. Be warm when you are present. Be focused when you are with her. but do not abandon your life just to keep her attention warm. If you are ready to protect your time, write this in the comments. I value time. Stay with me, because the next part shows how making your time valuable changes the way she feels your presence without neediness or predictable energy again. Number 2. Make your time valuable. Now listen carefully, folks, because time is one of the clearest signals of value a man can give. Not money, not compliments, not constant attention. Time, the way you spend it, protect it, and offer it, tells a woman how you see yourself before you ever explain a thing. If your time is always available, it feels light. If your time has structure, it feels valuable. Most men hand out time like it costs nothing. They reply instantly, stay on the phone for hours, accept last-minute plans, and let a woman move them around like an open calendar. They think this proves interest. But what it often proves is that their life has no strong center. And a woman may enjoy that convenience for a while, but convenience does not create deep desire. Seneca said, "No person hands out their money to passers-by, but to how many do each of us hand out our life?" That is the point, my friend. Your time is your life. Every hour you give away to someone who has not earned it is not just attention. It is a piece of your existence. So why would you treat it like spare change? Making your time valuable does not mean acting busy. It means being busy with purpose. Your work matters, your health matters, your friends matter, your solitude matters, your sleep matters, your mission matters. A woman should feel that when she enters your world, she is stepping into a life already in motion, not becoming the engine that finally makes it move. That is attractive. When a man values his time, his yes has weight. His presence feels intentional. He does not accept every invitation just because she is beautiful. He does not turn every free evening into a waiting room for her attention. If he is available, it is because he chose to make space, not because he had nothing better to do. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." That quote should sharpen you. Your days are limited. Your energy is limited. Your focus is limited. Do not spend your limited life chasing unlimited access to a woman who has not shown equal investment. This is where men misunderstand female psychology. They think more time equals more attraction. Not always. Too much time too soon can remove anticipation. It can make your presence common. And when your presence becomes common, her mind stops reaching for it. But when your time has healthy limits, she starts noticing the moments she does get with you. She values the date more. She listens differently. She feels that access to you is not automatic. That creates respect, and respect feeds desire. A Stoic man gives time with intention. He does not use his schedule as a weapon. He does not say no just to create anxiety. He simply refuses to abandon his own order. If he has training, he trains. If he has work, he works. If he promised his friend he would show up, he shows up. His word to himself is not cancelled because a woman suddenly feels available. That kind of consistency is masculine. So make your time valuable by living a life that requires protection. Build routines she can sense. Keep commitments she can respect. Stop overextending to prove you care. Give her quality when you are with her, then return to your path when you are not. That balance makes your presence stronger and your absence more noticeable, especially. I protect time. Let's keep going because the next part shows why her fear of losing access can awaken desire faster than endless reassurance. Number 3. Trigger fear of losing you. Let's be clear, folks. This is not about threatening a woman. It is not about playing cruel games, acting unstable, or making her feel unsafe. That is weak behavior. What we are talking about is self-respect. A woman should never feel like she can disrespect you, cancel on you, ignore your needs, treat you like an afterthought and still keep full access to your time, attention, and masculine energy. That is the fear of losing you. Not fear of danger, fear of consequence. Fear that if she stops valuing you, she could lose the privilege of your presence. And my friend, that fear matters because people tend to take for granted what they believe is guaranteed. Think about Greg, 56, a logistics manager in Nashville. He had been seeing Marissa, 47, a beautiful, energetic woman who worked in event planning. Marissa knew how to create excitement. When she was warm, she made Greg feel like the only man in the room. When she touched his hand across the table or leaned close during dinner, the chemistry felt alive. But over time, she started treating his availability like a backup plan. She cancelled twice at the last minute. She replied warmly when she wanted attention, then disappeared when Greg tried to make real plans. She would say things like, "I have just been busy," but somehow she always had time for friends, social events, and everything else that mattered to her. Greg noticed it, but at first he swallowed it. He did not want to seem needy. He did not want to lose her, so he accepted less. That is where men lose power. They think loyalty means staying no matter what. They think patience means tolerating disrespect. They think if they keep proving they are safe, steady, and reliable, she will eventually appreciate them. But if your loyalty has no boundaries, it does not create attraction. It creates comfort without urgency. One Friday, Marissa cancelled again 2 hours before dinner. Old Greg would have said, "No problem, maybe next time." But this time, he stayed calm and told her, "I understand things come up, but I am not interested in a dynamic where my time is treated casually. If we make plans, I expect them to matter." Then he stopped talking. No anger, no lecture, no emotional punishment. He went out with a friend, had dinner, and lived his life. That was the turning point. Marissa felt something she had not felt before. She felt that Greg was not guaranteed. She felt that his warmth came with standards. She felt that if she kept treating him casually, she could actually lose him. That is how healthy uncertainty works. A woman needs to feel safe with you, yes, but safe does not mean she gets to become careless. Safe does not mean your access is permanent, no matter how little she invests. Attraction lives between comfort and respect. If there is comfort without respect, desire starts dying. If there is uncertainty without stability, trust dies. But when a man is warm and grounded, yet clearly willing to walk away from disrespect, he creates the balance that makes a woman value him more. The Stoic lesson here is simple. You do not control her behavior. You control your boundary. You control what you allow. You control whether access to you remains open when the treatment becomes one-sided. Greg did not scare Marissa. He woke her up, not by manipulating her, but by finally respecting himself out loud. After that, she either had to meet the standard or lose access. That is real masculine power. If you are ready to stop being guaranteed, write this in the comments. I set standards. Stay with me, because the next part shows how to set boundaries without threats, drama, or emotional weakness. Number 4. Set boundaries without threats. Now hear this clearly, folks. A boundary is not a threat. A boundary is not a punishment. A boundary is not you raising your voice, trying to scare a woman into respecting you. A boundary is simply a standard with a consequence you are calm enough to honor. That is what most men miss. They wait until they are angry, hurt, or embarrassed, then they explode. They say things like, "If you do that again, I am done." They make big speeches, throw emotional warnings, and call it setting boundaries. But that is not a boundary. That is frustration trying to regain control after self-respect was ignored for too long. A real boundary is quieter, cleaner, stronger. It says, "This is what I accept. This is what I do not accept. And if the line is crossed, I do not need to argue. I adjust my access. I remove my energy. I protect my peace." Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That matters here because a man who cannot control his reaction will always turn boundaries into threats. He will argue. He will plead. He will try to make her feel guilty. He will keep explaining the same standard to someone who already understood it the first time. But a man who has mastered himself does not need to threaten. His calm is the warning. His follow-through is the consequence. Let's be real. If a woman cancels on you again and again, you do not need to attack her. You do not need to accuse her. You do not need to beg to be prioritized. You simply say, "I respect that you have a busy life, but I do not keep making plans with someone who treats my time casually." Then you step back. That is not drama. That is leadership over your own life. The reason this works is simple. Threats seek control. Boundaries create clarity. Threats say change so I can feel safe. Boundaries say I will decide what I participate in. One comes from fear. The other comes from self-respect. And women can feel the difference immediately. A man who threatens often looks unstable because his power depends on her reaction. If she apologizes, he calms down. If she pushes back, he gets louder. If she gives him affection, he forgets the standard. That tells her his boundary was never real. It was just pain looking for reassurance. But a man with real boundaries does not need to be loud. He does not over-explain. He does not keep negotiating the same disrespect. He gives one clear statement, then his behavior matches it. That consistency creates respect because it shows he values his word more than temporary comfort. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Apply that here, my friend. Stop arguing about being respected. Be a man who respects himself. Stop demanding that she understand your value. Live like your value is already understood by you. The world learns your standards by watching what you allow. And folks, if you want deeper members-only lessons on boundaries, masculine communication, and emotional self-command, join the channel membership. Inside, we go beyond surface advice and break down how to speak with calm authority in real dating situations, without anger, begging, or weakness. So set boundaries without threats. Speak clearly, stay calm, follow through. Do not use your boundary to control her. Use it to control your access to her. That is the Stoic move. You are not trying to force desire. You are protecting the man who carries it. If you are ready to lead with calm standards, write this in the comments. I hold boundaries. Stay tuned because the next part shows how controlling the pace keeps attraction alive without pressure or neediness. Number 5. Control the pace. Let's be honest, folks. If you let a woman decide the entire pace of the connection, you stop leading and start following. You text when she wants. You meet when she is free. You speed up when she gives warmth, slow down when she goes cold, and before long, your rhythm is no longer yours. You are moving to her tempo. That is where attraction starts losing respect. Controlling the pace does not mean controlling her. It means controlling yourself. It means you decide how quickly access grows, how much time you invest, how much emotional depth you reveal, and when the connection deserves a deeper place in your life. A man with standards does not rush just because chemistry feels strong. He lets desire breathe without letting it drive. Think about Leonard, 54, a financial consultant in Denver. He met Audrey, 47, a divorced interior designer with a calm voice, sharp style, and that confident feminine energy that made him feel pulled in immediately. Their first date had heat. The eye contact lasted a little longer than normal. The conversation felt easy. Audrey laughed, leaned closer, and told Leonard she had not felt that kind of connection in a long time. Leonard felt it too, but instead of staying grounded, he let the pace run away from him. By the second week, he was texting every morning and night. By the third week, he had cleared his weekends. By the fourth week, he was talking about trips, future plans, and how rare their connection felt. He thought he was showing seriousness. But to Audrey, the mystery disappeared too fast. She started pulling back. Not because Leonard was a bad man, not because the connection was fake, but because he gave too much access too soon. He removed anticipation. He made the relationship feel like it had already arrived before it had earned depth. And when a man rushes intimacy, he often kills the tension that made it attractive in the first place. This is why pace matters. A strong man can enjoy chemistry without immediately surrendering structure. He can desire a woman without rearranging his whole life around her after a few good dates. He can let the connection grow in layers. First respect, then curiosity, then consistency, then trust, then deeper access. That order protects attraction and protects your peace. Most men rush because they are afraid. Afraid she will lose interest. Afraid another man will get her attention. Afraid that if they do not lock things down fast, the moment will disappear. But fear-driven speed feels heavy. It turns attraction into pressure. It makes her feel like you are trying to secure her before you have even evaluated whether she deserves that position. Leonard eventually learned to slow down. When Audrey pulled back, he did not chase. He reset his rhythm. He stopped giving relationship-level access to a dating-level connection. He kept his work schedule, his gym time, his friendships, and his quiet evenings. When they met, he was present and warm. When they were apart, he did not flood her with messages. That shift changed his energy. Controlling the pace means you lead with patience. You do not drag her forward. You do not let her drag you either. You create a rhythm that keeps desire alive, respect intact, and investment mutual. If she wants more access, she can earn it through consistency, not just chemistry. So slow down, my friend. Let her wonder a little. Let anticipation build. Let your life remain full. The right woman will not be pushed away by your standards. She will feel safer inside them. If you are ready to lead the rhythm, write this in the comments. I lead pace. Stay with me, because the next part shows how to lead without rushing and keep her desire growing naturally. Number 6. Lead without rushing. Let me be clear, folks. Leading is not the same as rushing. A man who leads creates direction. A man who rushes creates pressure. And pressure is what turns attraction into resistance. This is where many men make a mistake. They feel chemistry with a woman, and suddenly they want to secure it. They want the next date locked in immediately. They want daily communication. They want emotional certainty before the connection has earned it. They call it being serious, but underneath it is often fear. Fear she will lose interest. Fear another man will step in. Fear that if he does not move fast, the desire will disappear. But desire does not grow well under pressure. Desire grows through rhythm, space, anticipation, and trust. A Stoic man leads without needing to control the outcome. He can make plans. He can express interest. He can create momentum. But he does not rush a woman into giving him the reassurance his own discipline should provide. He knows that leadership is calm. It is not frantic. It is not hungry. It is not trying to force tomorrow to arrive before today has finished teaching its lesson. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." Think about that, my friend. If you value her response more than your composure, you lose control. If you value her commitment more than your standards, you lose control. If you value her attention more than your pace, you lose control. Leading without rushing means you keep your power inside your own hands. You set the tone by being intentional. You ask her out clearly. You choose a place. You make the moment feel easy and masculine. But after that, you do not smother the space. You do not turn one good date into a relationship speech. You do not confuse sexual tension with emotional readiness. You do not give husband-level access to a woman who is still showing dating-level investment. That is not cold. That is wisdom. Seneca said, "No wind is favorable to a sailor who does not know to what port he is sailing." A man must know his direction before he invites a woman into his life. If your direction is weak, her energy will steer you. If your direction is strong, she can join your rhythm without becoming your compass. This is why leading without rushing is powerful. It shows her that you have desire but not desperation. You have interest but not anxiety. You have warmth but not need. You can enjoy her feminine presence, her beauty, her softness, even the tension between you, while still keeping your own life intact. Most men rush because they want to be chosen. A grounded man leads because he is also choosing. He is watching her consistency, her attitude, her respect, her ability to invest, her ability to receive his leadership without turning it into a game. That mindset changes everything. He is not auditioning, he is evaluating. And evaluation takes patience. If she needs constant reassurance from your availability, notice that. If she pushes for access before earning trust, notice that. If she only responds when you pull away, notice that too. Leadership is not blindness. It is clear seeing with steady hands. So slow the emotional speed while keeping masculine direction. Make plans but do not over-pursue. Show interest but do not overexpose your heart. Enjoy attraction but do not surrender structure. Let the connection breathe. Let her wonder. Let her feel that being with you is exciting because your world is moving, not because you are dragging her into it. If you are ready to lead with calm strength, write this in the comments. I lead calmly. Do not go anywhere because the next part shows why making her earn validation changes the entire power dynamic. Number 7. Make her earn validation. Let's be direct, folks. If you hand a woman unlimited validation just because she is attractive, you train her to believe your approval is cheap. And when your approval is cheap, your presence loses weight. This is where many men get the roles backwards. They meet a woman they desire, and instantly they start trying to prove themselves. They compliment her beauty too often. They laugh too hard. They pay for everything without noticing whether she respects them. They bend, adjust, impress, and perform, hoping she will finally see their value. But my friend, the moment you start begging for her approval, you stop behaving like a man with standards. Validation should not be thrown around like free candy. Think about Russell, 52, a regional sales manager in Dallas. He met Carmen, 46, a confident woman who worked in luxury hospitality. Carmen was stunning, smooth, and used to men reacting to her beauty. She knew how to smile just enough, lean close just enough, and let a man feel like he had a chance if he worked hard enough. Russell fell right into it. On the first date, he told her she was gorgeous 3 times. On the second, he brought an expensive bottle of wine. By the third, he was adjusting his schedule around hers, sending thoughtful messages, complimenting her dress, her laugh, her intelligence, her energy. Carmen enjoyed it, but she did not invest much back. She rarely asked about his life. She rarely planned anything. She received his validation like it was expected, and Russell kept giving more. That is the trap. A woman may enjoy being praised, but enjoyment is not desire. If she gets your approval without effort, without respect, without consistency, then she does not have to earn anything. She does not have to wonder whether she impressed you. She does not have to step up. You have already placed her above you. A man with self-respect validates differently. He notices more than beauty. He rewards behavior. He compliments effort, warmth, integrity, femininity, thoughtfulness, consistency. He does not tell a woman she is amazing simply because she looks good across the table. He watches how she treats him, how she speaks to people, how she handles inconvenience, how she receives his leadership, and how much she invests. That is where validation becomes powerful. Russell finally understood this after Carmen cancelled plans and expected him to simply reschedule around her. Instead of chasing, he stepped back. The next time they met, he was still warm, still masculine, still calm, but he stopped flooding her with praise. When she showed genuine curiosity, he acknowledged it. When she made real effort, he appreciated it. When she only offered beauty and charm, he did not overpay with attention. Carmen noticed the difference. Suddenly, his approval was not automatic. She had to bring more than her looks. She had to show presence. She had to show respect. And that changed the dynamic. This is not about being cold. It is about being selective. A woman should feel that your approval means something because it comes from a man who is not easily impressed. That creates a subtle sexual tension because now she is not just receiving your attention, she is wondering how to earn more of it. And that is what most men never understand. The prize is not the woman who gets praised by every man. The prize is the man whose praise has weight because his standards have weight. So stop validating potential. Stop validating beauty alone. Stop rewarding low effort with high attention. Let her show you who she is before you crown her in your mind. If you are ready to make your approval matter, write this in the comments. I give value. Stay close, because the next part shows why seeking her approval is the fastest way to lose your own power. Number 8. Stop seeking her approval. Now listen closely, folks, because this is where a man keeps his power or hands it over without noticing. The moment you start seeking a woman's approval, you place her above your own judgment. You begin asking, does she like this? Did that impress her? Did I say enough? Did I do enough? Am I still in her good graces? That is not attraction. That is surrender. A woman can be beautiful, charming, sensual, and desirable, but she should never become the judge of your worth. Her reaction is not your scoreboard. Her smile is not your certificate. Her attention is not proof that you are valuable. The second you need her approval to feel solid, your masculine energy starts leaking. Most men do not see it happening. They change their opinions to avoid disagreement. They laugh when nothing is funny. They dress, speak, spend, and perform based on what they think will earn a better reaction from her. They become careful, polished, and emotionally edited. And the sad part is they call it being considerate, but underneath it is approval-seeking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Apply that here, my friend. Her approval only controls you because you have overvalued it. You have made her response bigger than your own self-respect. You have treated her opinion like a throne, then wondered why you feel beneath it. A Stoic man does not live that way. He listens, but he does not bend his character for applause. He appreciates a woman's beauty, but he does not become obedient to it. He can enjoy her warmth, her softness, her attention, even the quiet sexual pull between them, without making her approval the center of his identity. That is what creates respect. Because when a woman senses that you are trying to be approved, she may enjoy the power for a while, but she will not feel deep attraction. Approval-seeking kills tension. It makes you too easy to steer. It tells her, you are not standing on a foundation, you are standing on her reaction. And no woman wants to feel like she is carrying a grown man's confidence. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought, foolish, and stupid." That does not mean act foolish. It means stop being enslaved by how others judge you. Say what you mean, hold your standards, keep your direction. Let her agree or disagree without losing yourself. This is how you stop seeking approval. You return to your own center before every interaction. You ask, what do I value? What do I respect? What kind of man am I choosing to be? Then you move from that place. If she likes it, good. If she does not, you still remain intact. Stop auditioning. Stop performing. Stop trying to be the version of yourself you think will keep her interested. Be calm. Be direct. Be warm when it is real. Be firm when it is necessary. A man who approves of himself does not beg to be validated by a woman he barely knows. And here is the powerful part. When you stop needing her approval, your presence becomes cleaner. Your words become sharper. Your decisions become stronger. You stop chasing reactions and start observing alignment. That shift makes you harder to control and much harder to forget. It also makes your desire feel stronger because it comes from choice, not hunger. A woman feels the difference between a man selecting her and a man begging for permission. If you are ready to approve of yourself, write this in the comments. I approve myself. Stay with me, because the next part shows why mystery keeps her mind engaged longer than any performance for approval could. Number 9. Stay mysterious always. Let's be honest, folks. Mystery is not about hiding who you are. It is about not handing a woman your entire inner world before she has earned the right to explore it. Too many men confuse openness with overexposure. They meet a woman they like, feel the chemistry, and suddenly they start unloading everything. their past, their wounds, their plans, their fears, their schedule, their feelings, their long-term hopes. By the third conversation, there is nothing left for her to discover. And when there is nothing left to discover, curiosity dies. Think about Frank, 57, a retired police officer in Tampa. He met Elena, 49, a confident woman who owned a small art gallery. Elena was attractive in a quiet, mature way, the kind of woman who did not need to dress loud to be noticed. She had grace, intelligence, and that slow, feminine warmth that made Frank want to lean in. On their first date, the connection was good. Elena asked about his life, and Frank, wanting to be honest, told her everything. His divorce, his loneliness, his retirement struggles, his financial plans, his childhood, his fears about dating again. He even told her he had not felt this comfortable with a woman in years. It was sincere, but it was too much too soon. Elena listened kindly, but the tension changed. She no longer wondered about him. She no longer felt there were layers to uncover. Frank had turned himself into an open book in one night, and while honesty can create trust, overexposure can drain desire. A woman may respect your honesty and still lose the emotional pull that comes from discovery. Mystery means you reveal yourself in layers, not because you are fake, not because you are playing a role, because a man with depth does not spill himself everywhere just to be accepted. He lets trust earn access. He lets time reveal substance. He gives enough to connect, but not so much that he becomes fully decoded before attraction has room to breathe. Frank learned this later. On his next few dates, he changed his pace. He still answered honestly, but he stopped turning every question into a confession. When asked about his past, he gave enough truth, then brought the conversation back into the present. When Elena asked what he was thinking, he smiled and said something worth telling you another time. Calm, playful, not evasive, just layered. That small restraint brought tension back. Folks, a mysterious man is not silent because he has nothing to say. He is selective because his words have value. He does not narrate his whole day. He does not explain every mood. He does not announce every plan before it is real. He allows a woman to wonder, and wonder is powerful because it keeps her mind working when you are not around. This is especially important with mature women. They have heard enough empty talk. They know when a man is performing. What holds their attention is not noise. It is depth with restraint. A man who has lived, learned, suffered, built, and still does not feel the need to prove everything at once. So stay mysterious always. Keep layers, keep standards, keep parts of your life private until trust deserves them. Let her discover your mind, your discipline, your sensuality, your strength, and your story over time. Let her feel that there is still more behind your eyes, more behind your calm, more behind the life you do not fully explain. The man who reveals slowly creates anticipation. The man who over-explains becomes familiar too fast. If you are ready to protect your mystery, write this in the comments. I keep layers. Don't go anywhere, because the final part shows how to keep her discovering you long after most men become predictable. Number 10. Keep her discovering you. Here is the final piece, folks. If a woman feels she has fully figured you out, her mind stops reaching. The spark does not always die because love is gone. Sometimes it dies because there is nothing left to discover. Predictability may feel safe, but too much predictability can make desire go quiet. A man who stays interesting is not a man who performs new tricks every week. He is a man who keeps growing. That is the part most men miss. They think mystery is something you create by hiding, being vague, or acting unavailable. No. Real mystery comes from depth. It comes from having a life that keeps expanding, a mind that keeps sharpening, and a character that keeps revealing new strength over time. You are not trying to confuse her. You are becoming a man with layers. Think about the kind of man a woman cannot easily forget. He has routines she respects, but not a life she can fully predict. He has warmth, but also restraint. He shares, but not all at once. He lets her experience different sides of him through time, not through one long speech. One week she sees his discipline, another week she sees his humor, later she sees his patience under pressure, then his ambition, then his tenderness, then his capacity to walk away from disrespect without losing control. That unfolding creates pull. When you reveal everything too early, you give her the ending before the story has tension. But when you let your life speak gradually, she keeps paying attention. She wonders what else is there. She starts listening closer. She starts noticing the parts of you that most men never even develop. This is where Stoicism matters. A Stoic man does not build himself to entertain a woman. He builds because growth is his responsibility. He disciplines his emotions. He strengthens his body. He improves his judgment. He refines his speech. He becomes more useful, more stable, more composed. And because he keeps becoming, there is always more to discover. That is attractive because it is real. Do not become the man whose entire identity is available in the first month. Do not tell every story, confess every weakness, announce every plan, and explain every dream just because her eyes make you feel safe. Let trust earn depth. Let consistency earn access. Let time reveal what impulse wants to dump too soon. And do not stay the same just because she likes the version she met. A man who stops growing becomes easy to categorize. She knows his jokes. She knows his reactions. She knows his schedule. She knows exactly how to get his attention. But a man who keeps evolving keeps her mind engaged because she cannot reduce him to one simple label. This does not mean you become unstable. It means you become alive. Keep learning, keep training, keep building, keep improving how you lead, listen, speak, and handle pressure. Surprise her with growth, not chaos. Let her discover that your calm has strength behind it. Let her discover that your desire has discipline behind it. Let her discover that your kindness has boundaries behind it. That is the kind of masculine presence that deepens over time, long after the first attraction begins to fade. So keep her discovering you by becoming worth discovering, not by pretending, not by manipulating, not by turning yourself into a puzzle with missing pieces. Become a man whose life has substance, whose silence has meaning, whose attention has value, and whose inner world is not handed out cheaply. Some women will not look deeply enough to see it. Let them pass. The right woman will notice the depth, respect the standards, and keep leaning in. That is how you remain unforgettable. You do not force obsession. You build depth, and depth keeps calling her back. Folks, now you understand what truly makes a woman stay curious, invested, and emotionally pulled toward a man. It is not constant attention. It is not chasing. It is not being available every time she wants access. It is standards, mystery, restraint, confidence, boundaries, and a life that does not revolve around her approval. This lesson was never about forcing obsession. It was about becoming the kind of man whose time has value, whose presence has weight, and whose depth keeps revealing more over time. If you want deeper lessons on Stoicism, masculine confidence, emotional control, and attraction without desperation, join the channel membership. That is where we go further and build the mindset most men never develop. And if this video gave you clarity, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss tomorrow's lesson. If we are being honest, most men do not know how to make someone who undervalues them think twice. They chase harder. They explain more. They try to be nicer, more available, more understanding, hoping the other person will finally wake up and see their worth. But folks, that usually does the opposite. It teaches them that your value can be ignored and you will still keep showing up. Maybe you know that feeling, my friend. You give your time, your attention, your loyalty, your masculine presence, and somehow she still treats you like an option. She looks at her phone during your conversations. She forgets what matters to you. She receives your effort, but gives very little back. And deep down you start wondering what is wrong with you. Here is the Stoic truth. You do not make someone value you by begging for it. You make your value impossible to ignore by living it. That starts with self-esteem, self-confidence, emotional independence, boundaries, purpose, and the kind of presence that makes people feel your absence when you are not around. In this video, you will learn how to embrace your authentic self, build emotional self-sufficiency, enforce boundaries, grow with purpose, communicate with calm confidence, listen deeply, upgrade your presence, and become the kind of man who is respected without chasing approval. Stay with me, because these 10 Stoic techniques can change how people see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Let's get into it. Number 1. Embrace your authentic self. Let's be honest, folks. The fastest way to become forgettable is to spend your life performing for someone who does not value you. When you bend your personality, hide your opinions, soften your humor, and edit your energy just to be accepted, you do not become more attractive. You become less real. And people do not remember fake. Authenticity has weight because it cannot be copied. It is the calm strength of a man who says, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," not with arrogance, not with bitterness, with quiet certainty. A man like that does not beg to be understood by everyone. He simply refuses to abandon himself for people who only respect a version of him that is easier to control. Think about Alan, 51, a mechanic from Pittsburgh. He started seeing Denise, 46, a woman who worked in marketing and moved in a polished social circle. Alan liked her. She was attractive, sharp, and carried herself with that confident feminine energy that made him want to impress her. So he started changing little things. He stopped talking about his love for old cars because she called it boring. He dressed in clothes that did not feel like him. He laughed at jokes he did not enjoy. He pretended to be more refined, more agreeable, more like the men she usually dated. At first, Denise seemed pleased, but something strange happened. The more Alan tried to become what he thought she wanted, the less she respected him. He became careful, predictable, too eager to please. The natural confidence she first noticed in him started disappearing. Then one night during dinner, Denise made another small joke about his garage life. This time, Alan did not shrink. He smiled and said, "I build engines because I respect work you can hear, touch and feel. That is part of who I am. I do not need everyone to understand it." That was the first time Denise looked at him differently. Not because cars suddenly became fascinating to her, because Alan stopped asking for permission to be himself. He became solid again, and solidity is attractive. My friend, when someone does not value you, pretending harder will not fix it. If they overlook the real you, why would you offer them a weaker copy? The Stoic path begins with self-knowledge. You ask yourself, what are my values? What do I respect? What kind of man am I when nobody is rewarding me for performing? Once you know that, you stop shape-shifting for approval. Embracing your authentic self means you let your real standards, humor, convictions, boundaries, passions, and personality show through. You do not dump everything on the table at once. You simply stop hiding the parts of you that make you grounded. You speak truth without begging. You show warmth without acting needy. You let your masculine presence come from alignment, not performance. This does not mean you never improve. A weak man hides behind authenticity to avoid growth. A strong man improves without betraying his core. He can become sharper, healthier, wiser, and more socially skilled, while still staying true to himself. That is the balance. The people who are right for your life will respect the real version of you. The people who only liked your mask were never valuing you anyway. And when someone who once dismissed you sees you standing fully in your own identity, something shifts. They may not admit it, but they feel the difference. Real confidence does not shout, it lands. If you are ready to stop performing and stand in who you are, write this in the comments. I stay authentic. Stay with me, because the next part shows why emotional self-sufficiency makes your presence stronger than any approval you could chase. Number 2, build emotional self-sufficiency. Here is the truth, folks. If your peace depends on how someone treats you today, then they are not just in your life. They are holding the remote control to your emotional world. That is a dangerous way for a man to live. Emotional self-sufficiency means you stop outsourcing your worth. You stop needing her mood, her attention, her affection, or her approval to decide whether you are solid. You can enjoy connection, you can love, you can desire. But you do not collapse when someone pulls back, gets cold, or fails to value what you bring. That is strength. Most men who are undervalued make the same mistake. They try to earn more appreciation by giving more of themselves, more patience, more favors, more explanations, more late-night emotional labor. They think if they just prove enough, the other person will finally see them. But my friend, when you keep handing someone the power to decide your emotional state, you teach them that you are not anchored inside yourself. Marcus Aurelius said you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That line is not just philosophy, it is survival. Her appreciation is an outside event. Her mood is an outside event. Her neglect, her silence, her mixed signals, all outside events. Your response is where your freedom begins. A man with emotional self-sufficiency does not become cold. He becomes centered. He does not say, "I need no one," because that is often wounded pride talking. He says, "I can choose people deeply without needing them to complete me." That difference is huge. Neediness clings. Strength chooses. To build this, start taking responsibility for your own emotional life. Do not wait for someone else to make you feel alive. Build routines that steady you. Train your body. Get sunlight. Read. Work on your craft. Spend time with men who sharpen you. Sit alone without reaching for your phone every time discomfort rises. Learn how to be with yourself without treating solitude like punishment. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. If one woman can ignore you and ruin your entire day, you are not free yet. If one unanswered text can make you question your worth, you are not free yet. If one person's lack of appreciation makes you abandon your purpose, your inner foundation still needs work. This is not something to shame yourself for. It is something to build. And every time you build it, you become less available to emotional manipulation and more available to real connection. Emotional self-sufficiency is like becoming a rock in a stormy sea. The waves still hit, you still feel them, but you do not get carried away every time the water rises. You breathe, you observe, you return to your center. And because you are no longer desperate for emotional rescue, your presence becomes stronger in any situation. People feel that. A woman feels when a man is not begging internally. His voice changes, his posture changes, his attention feels chosen, not hungry. He can be warm without being dependent. He can give without secretly demanding validation in return. He can walk away from disrespect without feeling like his entire identity has been rejected. That is what makes him hard to dismiss. So stop making someone else the source of your emotional oxygen. Let them add to your life, not become the thing that keeps you breathing. Build your own calm. Own your own happiness. Stand inside yourself so firmly that anyone who fails to value you meets a man who does not fall apart. If you are ready to own your emotional strength, write this in the comments. I own calm. Let's keep going because the next part shows why boundaries make your value impossible to ignore. Number 3. Enforce your personal boundaries. Let's get real, folks. People do not respect boundaries you only mention when you are hurt. They respect boundaries you live by when it costs you something. A boundary is not a speech. It is not a complaint. It is not you saying I deserve better while continuing to accept the same treatment every week. A boundary is a line backed by action. It tells the world, this is how I allow myself to be treated, and if that line is crossed, my access changes. That is why boundaries are attractive. They show self-respect. They show emotional maturity. They show that you are not so desperate for connection that you will tolerate being dismissed, ignored, used, or treated like a convenience. A man with boundaries does not need to shout. He does not need to threaten. His calm follow-through says everything. Think about Robert, 58, a construction supervisor in Kansas City. He had been dating Linda, 52, a nurse he met through mutual friends. Linda was warm when she wanted closeness, but inconsistent when Robert needed respect. She would cancel plans late, take hours to answer simple messages, then act affectionate when she wanted his attention again. Robert cared about her, so he kept making excuses. She is tired. She works long shifts. She has been hurt before. She is just bad at communication. Maybe some of that was true, but the pattern was still the pattern. One Friday, Linda canceled dinner 40 minutes before Robert was supposed to pick her up. No apology with wait. Just a casual, sorry, rough day, maybe next week. Old Robert would have said, no problem, get some rest. Then he would have sat at home feeling small, angry, and ashamed for accepting it again. This time he responded differently. He said, I understand having a hard day, but I do not keep making plans with someone who treats my time casually. If we plan something, I expect it to matter. Then he went out with his brother and did not keep the conversation going. No drama, no insult, no begging. That is enforcing a boundary. And here is what most men miss. The power was not in the sentence. The power was in Robert meaning it. If Linda respected the boundary, good. If she did not, Robert was prepared to step back. That readiness is what makes a boundary real. My friend, when someone does not value you, they will often test how little they can give while still keeping your access. Not always consciously, not always maliciously, but people learn what you allow. If low effort still gets your warmth, low effort becomes the standard. If disrespect still gets your loyalty, disrespect becomes comfortable. Boundaries interrupt that pattern. They say, I can care about you and still protect myself. I can desire you and still say no. I can enjoy your presence and still walk away if the cost is my dignity. That is masculine strength. A boundary also protects the relationship from resentment, because when you do not enforce limits, bitterness builds. You smile on the outside while keeping score inside. You say it is fine, but your respect for yourself drops. Eventually, you either explode or become cold. A clear boundary prevents that. It gives the other person a chance to meet you with maturity, and it gives you the clarity to leave if they cannot. So, enforce your personal boundaries. Know what you accept. Say it calmly. Follow through without apology. Do not use boundaries to control her. Use them to control your own access, energy, and peace. If you are ready to stand on your standards, write this in the comments. I enforce boundaries. Stay with me, because the next part shows how a growth mindset makes you harder to dismiss and easier to admire. Number 4. Adopt a growth mindset. Now listen carefully, folks, because a man who refuses to grow becomes easy to overlook. You can have a good heart, good intentions, and real loyalty, but if you stay the same while life keeps testing you, people will start treating your presence like something familiar, not something valuable. A growth mindset changes that. It means you stop seeing criticism, rejection, conflict, and disappointment as proof that you are not enough. You start seeing them as information. You ask, what is this showing me? What can I sharpen? Where did I react from ego? Where did I abandon my own standards? A weak man takes every challenge as an attack. A strong man uses every challenge as training. That is deeply Stoic. Marcus Aurelius wrote the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That quote is not just for war business or hardship. It applies to relationships too. If someone does not value you, that pain can become the wall you keep hitting, or it can become the weight that builds your strength. The obstacle becomes useful when you stop complaining about it and start learning from it. Most men do the opposite. They get rejected, ignored, criticized, or taken for granted, and they freeze. They replay the same story. They blame the other person. They say, "This always happens to me." They protect their pride instead of improving their life. And because they never grow, the same lesson keeps returning in a different face. A growth mindset breaks that cycle. It says, maybe I need better boundaries. Maybe I need stronger emotional control. Maybe I need to communicate more clearly. Maybe I need to stop choosing people who only value me when I am useful. Maybe I need to become more disciplined, more grounded, more honest with myself. This is not self-blame. Do not twist it. You are not responsible for someone disrespecting you, but you are responsible for what you allow, what you repeat, and what you become after the experience. That is where your power lives. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. A growth mindset starts right there. You decide the kind of man you are becoming, then you align your habits with that decision. You do not wait until life feels easy. You do not wait until everyone appreciates you. You grow while being tested. You grow while adapting, strengthening. He reads, trains, reflects, apologizes when needed, and adjusts without losing his spine. People feel that. A woman feels when a man is not begging to be valued, but becoming more valuable through his own effort. So take criticism without collapsing. Take setbacks without quitting. Take rejection without turning bitter. Let every hard moment teach you something useful. The man who grows through what was meant to discourage him becomes dangerous to his old limitations. He becomes harder to dismiss because every wound turns into wisdom and every lesson becomes visible in how he carries himself. If you are ready to grow instead of stay stuck, write this in the comments. I grow daily. Stay tuned, because the next part shows how living with purpose and passion makes your presence impossible to ignore. Number 5. Live with purpose and passion. Let's be honest, folks. Body, to strengthen skills, to sharpen a mission to protect, and a future that demands his attention. Think about Martin, 55, a restaurant owner in Austin. After his divorce, he started seeing Carla, 48, a real estate agent. At first, Carla liked him. Martin was generous, funny, and easy to be around. But over time, she noticed something. His whole week seemed to revolve around when she was free. If she cancelled, he had no plan. If she was busy, he waited. If she seemed distant, his mood dropped. Carla did not say it directly, but she started losing respect. It was not because Martin lacked money or charm. It was because he had slowly disconnected from the fire that once made him interesting. He used to care about expanding his business, mentoring younger cooks, improving his health, and building a life his grown kids could admire. But once Carla entered the picture, he let those things fade. She became the center, and that made his energy smaller. Then one afternoon, after Carla cancelled another weekend plan, Martin did something different. He did not sit around waiting. He went to his restaurant, redesigned the menu, called an old chef friend, and started planning a charity dinner for local veterans. That project woke something up in him. He began training again. He started reading at night. He rebuilt his mornings. He stopped being a man waiting for attention and became a man moving with direction. Carla noticed the change, not because he announced it, because purpose changes how a man carries himself. He was warmer but less needy, more alive but less available for emotional scraps. When he spoke, he had something real behind his words. When he spent time with her, it felt chosen, not desperate. That is what passion does. It makes you magnetic without trying. Passion is not just romance or physical desire. It is the life force of a man who is engaged with his own existence. It is the way he talks about something he cares about. The way his posture changes when he is building. The way his attention becomes valuable because it is no longer empty. If someone does not value you, do not make them your purpose. That is backwards. Live so deeply in your purpose that their lack of appreciation cannot drain your identity. Let your work, your health, your craft, your faith, your family, your mission, and your growth remind you that your life is bigger than one person's opinion. A woman can feel when a man is passionate about his path. She may admire his drive, discipline, creative fire, and ability to stay committed when things get hard. That kind of masculine energy creates respect because it shows he is not waiting to be saved. He is building. So find what makes you come alive. Protect it, feed it, schedule it, live it. Become the man whose purpose is stronger than his need for approval. If you are ready to live with fire again, write this in the comments. I live purpose. Stay with me because the next part shows how calm, assertive communication makes people respect your voice without forcing it. Number 6. Speak with calm confidence. Let me tell you something, folks. A man who cannot speak clearly will eventually be misunderstood, overlooked, or quietly disrespected, not because he has nothing valuable inside him, but because he never learned how to express it with calm authority. This is where assertive communication becomes power. Too many men swing between two weak extremes. One man stays silent when something bothers him, hoping the other person will magically understand. He bottles it up, smiles through disrespect, and later wonders why resentment is eating him alive. The other man explodes. He raises his voice, throws accusations, and calls it honesty. But both men are controlled by fear. One fears conflict, the other fears not being heard. A Stoic man chooses a different path. He speaks with calm confidence. That means he knows what he feels before he speaks. He knows what he needs. He knows what line was crossed. Then he communicates it without begging, attacking, or performing. His voice is steady because his identity is not dependent on the other person agreeing with him. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That is the foundation of strong communication, my friend. Speak truthfully, but do not use truth as a weapon. Say what is necessary, but do not drown the moment in emotional noise. A man who speaks too much from pain often weakens the very message he wants respected. Here is what calm confidence sounds like. Instead of saying, "You never care about me," he says, "I feel dismissed when my time is treated casually, and I am not willing to keep participating in that dynamic." Instead of saying, "You always make me feel unimportant," he says, "I need consistency if this is going to continue." Instead of sending a long paragraph at midnight, he waits until his mind is clear, then speaks once with weight. That kind of communication changes how people hear you. It does not guarantee they will respect you. Let us be clear about that. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you because your clarity threatens their access. But when you speak with calm confidence, you stop giving them confusion to hide behind. You stop sounding like a man asking for permission to have needs. You become a man stating reality. Epictetus taught that we should concern ourselves with what is in our control. In communication, you do not control whether she understands. You do not control whether she apologizes. You do not control whether she changes. You control your words, your tone, your timing, and your follow-through. That is enough. Speak directly. Use simple words. Keep your body language open. Hold eye contact without aggression. Do not interrupt. Listen, but do not surrender your point just because she becomes emotional. A man can be respectful and firm at the same time. That balance is rare, and rare gets remembered. Assertive communication also creates safety, not the soft kind where everyone avoids truth, the real kind where people know where they stand with you. They do not have to guess. They do not have to decode passive aggression. They meet a man who can say yes with sincerity, no with confidence, and this matters to me without shame. So stop swallowing your truth. Stop exploding after months of silence. Speak early. Speak cleanly. Speak from self-respect. A man who communicates with calm confidence does not chase validation. He commands understanding by standing in his own voice. If you are ready to speak with strength, write this in the comments. I speak clearly. Stay close, because the next part shows why deep listening can make your presence feel stronger than another man's loudest words. Number 7. Master deep listening. Let's be honest, folks. Most men listen only long enough to prepare their next line. They nod, stare, wait for their turn and think that is enough. But deep listening is different. Deep listening is presence. It is masculine attention with discipline behind it. And when a woman feels that from a man, especially after being around men who only perform, she remembers it. This does not mean you become her therapist. It does not mean you sit there absorbing every emotion like a sponge, hoping she rewards you with affection. That is not strength. Mastering deep listening means you hear what is being said, notice what is not being said, and stay grounded enough to respond with calm understanding instead of anxious performance. Think about Calvin, 54, a financial advisor in Minneapolis. He had been seeing Teresa, 49, a school administrator who was sharp, feminine, and guarded from years of dealing with men who talked over her. Calvin liked her, but at first he made the mistake many men make. He tried to impress her with stories. He talked about his career, his travels, his opinions, his plans. None of it was terrible, but Teresa felt like he was performing more than connecting. One evening, Teresa mentioned that she had been exhausted from caring for her aging mother while managing work. Old Calvin would have jumped in with advice. He would have told her what he would do, how she should organize things, or how strong she was. But this time he paused. He put his phone face down. He looked at her and said, "That sounds like you have been carrying a lot without much room to breathe." Teresa got quiet. Not because the sentence was magic, because she felt heard. Calvin did not rush to fix her. He did not turn her pain into a stage for his wisdom. He stayed present. He asked, "What has been the hardest part for you lately?" Then he listened. No interrupting, no checking the room, no trying to make the moment about himself. That is deep listening. A man who listens deeply creates emotional safety without losing masculine strength. He does not agree with everything just to be liked. He does not become soft and shapeless. He simply gives focused attention, and focused attention is rare. In a world where everyone is half distracted, full presence feels intimate without being needy. There is also a quiet, sensual power in being fully present, not staring like a hungry man, not leaning in with pressure, just steady, calm attention, the kind that makes the room slow down and makes her feel chosen without being chased. Deep listening also reveals truth. When you listen carefully, you learn what someone values, how they handle pressure, whether they take responsibility, and whether their words match their actions. This is why a Stoic man listens before he invests. He is not only trying to make her feel valued, he is also observing whether she is someone worthy of deeper access. Calvin changed the connection that night. Teresa began opening up more, not because he chased her, but because he became different from the men who only wanted to be admired. She started asking him more questions too. She invested because his presence made her feel respected, not hunted. So master deep listening. Put the phone away, hold eye contact, reflect what you hear, ask questions that invite depth. Let silence sit without rushing to fill it. Do not listen to collect points. Listen to understand. And when you speak, speak from what you actually heard. If you are ready to become the man who hears what others miss, write this in the comments. I listen deeply. Stay with me because the next part shows why consistency and reliability make your value feel stable, real, and impossible to dismiss. Number 8. Become consistent and reliable. Let's be straight, folks. Consistency is not boring. In a world full of mixed signals, broken promises, emotional games, and people who only show up when it benefits them, consistency is rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. A man who is consistent and reliable becomes hard to dismiss because his word carries weight. He says what he means, he does what he says. He shows up with the same core whether life feels easy or difficult. That steadiness creates trust. And trust is one of the deepest forms of attraction. Now, do not confuse reliability with being too available. Those are not the same thing. Being too available means you have no boundary around your time. Reliability means when you choose to give your word, you honor it. One comes from neediness. The other comes from character. A lot of men get overlooked because they are unpredictable in the wrong ways. They make promises they do not keep. They act strong one day and insecure the next. They communicate well when they want something, then disappear when responsibility shows up. They say they value someone, but their actions are inconsistent. And over time, people stop trusting their presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That is consistency in one sentence. Do not speak bigger than your behavior. Do not promise more than your discipline can carry. Do not present yourself as a man of value while living like a man who cannot keep his own word. Reliability starts small. You show up on time. You answer clearly. You follow through on what you said you would do. If plans change, you communicate instead of leaving people guessing. If you cannot commit, you say so honestly. If you make a mistake, you own it without turning it into a performance. That kind of behavior may sound simple, but simple is not the same as easy. It takes self-command to be steady when your mood changes. It takes maturity to remain respectful when you are tired. It takes discipline to keep promises when nobody is clapping. And listen carefully, my friend. A woman may be drawn in by mystery, confidence, and masculine tension, but she stays interested in a man whose character proves stable over time. Excitement may open the door, but consistency keeps respect alive. If you are exciting but unreliable, you become a storm. If you are reliable but lifeless, you become furniture. The power is in combining steadiness with purpose, warmth, and strength. That is where mature attraction deepens. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Dare to become the man whose word is clean. Dare to stop over-promising. Dare to live with enough order that people feel safe trusting you. That safety is not weak. It is masculine when it comes from strength, not submission. Consistency also protects your self-respect. Every promise you keep to others begins with the promises you keep to yourself. If you tell yourself, "You will train," train. If you say, "You will stop tolerating disrespect," stop. If you decide your peace matters, live like it matters. The man who betrays himself daily cannot become reliable for anyone else. So become consistent and reliable, not to be used, not to become someone's emotional servant, but because your character should be so steady that people feel the difference when you enter their life. If you are ready to become a man whose word has weight, write this in the comments. I stay consistent. Stay tuned, because the next part shows why upgrading your personal presence changes how people feel your value before you say a word. Number 9. Upgrade your personal presence. Let's be real, folks. Before people hear your story, they feel your presence. Before a woman knows your values, your discipline, or your history, she reads how you enter a room, how you stand, how you speak, how you care for yourself, and how much respect you seem to have for your own life. That is why personal presence matters. This is not about vanity. It is not about chasing some impossible image or trying to look like a man half your age. A mature man does not need to become someone else, but he does need to present the best version of himself with pride, discipline, and self-respect. Your appearance, posture, grooming, health, and energy all speak before your mouth does. Think about Raymond, 59, a retired accountant in Phoenix. After his divorce, he started dating again and met Diane, 52, a confident woman who worked in corporate training. Diane was elegant, sharp, and carried herself with calm, feminine polish. Raymond was a good man, but he had stopped paying attention to his own presence. His clothes were always a little loose. His shoes were worn down. His posture had collapsed from years behind a desk. He spoke softly, avoided eye contact, and looked like life had taken more from him than he wanted to admit. Diane liked his kindness, but she did not feel pulled toward him. Then Raymond had a hard conversation with himself. He realized he had been expecting people to see his inner value, while he was giving no outer signal that he valued himself. So he started simple. He cleaned up his wardrobe, not expensive clothes, just clothes that fit. He got a better haircut. He trimmed his beard. He walked every morning. He improved his health slowly and safely, not to impress anyone but to feel alive again. He practiced standing taller, speaking clearly, and holding eye contact without trying to dominate the room. 3 months later, Diane saw him at a community fundraiser. Same man, different presence. He did not become flashy. He became intentional. His shirt fit. His shoes were clean. His posture carried quiet strength. His smile looked less apologetic. When he spoke, his voice had more weight, because he had started respecting himself again. Diane noticed not because he looked perfect, but because he looked awake. That is the point, my friend. Personal presence is the physical expression of self-respect. When you care for your body, your grooming, your clothes, your health and your posture, you are telling the world, I still matter. I am still here. I have not given up on myself. And yes, women feel that. Mature women especially notice the difference between a man who is trying too hard and a man who simply takes care of himself. The first one looks needy, the second one looks grounded. You do not need designer clothes. You need clean clothes that fit. You do not need a perfect body. You need energy, strength and discipline. You do not need to look young. You need to look like a man who respects the age he has earned. Upgrade your personal presence by starting with basics. Hygiene, grooming, posture, fitness, sleep, better food, calm eye contact, a voice that does not rush, a handshake that feels steady, a style that reflects the man you are becoming. If someone has not valued, you do not chase them with speeches. Let your improved presence speak. Let them feel that you are not the same man they once overlooked. But do it for you first, because the deepest attraction begins when a man finally carries himself like someone worth noticing. If you are ready to carry stronger presence, write this in the comments. I carry presence. Stay with me, because the final part shows how refined social skills make your value impossible to forget. Number 10. Refine your social skills. Here is the final piece, folks. You can have confidence, boundaries, purpose, and presence, but if you cannot move well around people, your value will often stay hidden. Social skill is not fake charm. It is not being loud, smooth, or constantly entertaining. It is the ability to make people feel seen, respected, and comfortable while still remaining grounded in yourself. That is powerful. A man with refined social skills knows how to enter a room without begging for attention. He understands timing. He reads energy. He knows when to speak, when to listen, when to ask a better question, and when to let silence do its work. He does not dominate every conversation to prove he is interesting. He becomes interesting because he is genuinely engaged. This matters in relationships because attraction does not happen in isolation. It happens through interaction. The way you speak to the server, the way you greet her friends, the way you handle awkward moments, the way you respond when someone disagrees, the way you make the room feel when you walk in, all of that becomes part of your presence. And listen carefully, my friend. Refining your social skills does not mean becoming a performer. It means becoming more aware. A socially skilled man pays attention. He notices when someone is uncomfortable. He does not interrupt just to sound clever. He asks questions that invite depth, not questions that feel like an interview. He shares enough of himself to create connection, but not so much that the conversation becomes a speech about his life. There is a Stoic quality in this. A Stoic man does not need to be the center of every room because his ego is not starving. He can let others shine. He can be curious without feeling smaller. He can give respect without surrendering his own value. That kind of calm social confidence makes people relax around him, and relaxed people open up. So refine the basics. Hold steady eye contact without staring like a challenge. Speak at a pace that shows you are not rushing for approval. Smile when it is real. Use open body language. Remember names. Notice details. Follow up on something someone told you before. These small things tell people, I am present and I pay attention. But do not become a people pleaser. Social skill without self-respect becomes performance. You are not trying to be liked by everyone. You are learning how to connect from strength. That means you can disagree without becoming harsh. You can leave a conversation without apologizing for having a life. You can be warm without being available to every demand. The man who refines his social skills becomes memorable because people feel better and clearer after being around him. He does not drain the room. He does not bring desperate energy. He does not need to prove he is valuable because his behavior demonstrates it. If someone did not value you before, do not chase them with explanations. Improve how you move through the world. Let them see a man who communicates better, listens deeper, carries himself sharper, and connects with people naturally. That kind of change is hard to ignore. Practice this every day, not only on dates, not only when you want something. Practice it with the cashier, the neighbor, the old friend, the difficult co-worker. A man becomes socially powerful when respect is his habit, not his strategy. And in the end, this is not about making someone obsessed. It is about becoming a man whose presence carries value everywhere he goes. A man with character, calm, purpose, and social intelligence does not need to demand respect. He earns it through how he lives, how he speaks, and how he treats people. That is the final level, folks. Refine how you connect, and you refine how the world responds to you. Folks, now you understand how to become someone who is truly valued, not by chasing approval, but by building yourself from the inside out. You learned how authenticity, emotional self-sufficiency, boundaries, growth, purpose, clear communication, deep listening, consistency, personal presence, and social skill all work together to make a man harder to ignore and easier to respect. This lesson was never about manipulation. It was about becoming the kind of man whose value is lived, not begged for. A man who does not need to convince people to see his worth because his character, confidence, and presence speak for him. If you want deeper lessons on Stoicism, masculine self-respect, emotional control, and becoming a man people cannot overlook, join the channel membership. That is where we go further and build the mindset most men never develop. And if this video gave you clarity, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss tomorrow's lesson. Thank you for watching, my friend. Stay strong, stay grounded,